Been a hell of a start to 2023. I mean, with the bloody weather and cost of living going through the roof and all this sort of thing. From your point of view and your industry's point of view, how do you see the next sort of 12 months panning out with regards to long-term maintenance planning, and just your guys' particular view on where you see the next 12 months? Yeah,
so the next 12 months.
It's a big question. So you take your time.
Sit back, make a cup of tea.
Yeah.
As I say, I love talking about long-term planning. This year is about that shift. Was about the shift in the legislation. 91% of large developments don't have a 30-year plan. And 30-year plans are a different way of thinking. So you've got a fixed time frame. You've got a lot of plans out there that need to be converted and upgraded. So there's a chunk of work that was coming this year anyway. You've got the impact of the weather events, which is fair to say distracted a few people. It's probably highlighted a few issues, but it will have lost the front end of the year for a few people in terms of having to deal with that. You take a sort of more broader view of the whole construction industry. It's been a hot potato for quite a while. If you can get a tradie to turn up to quote, you're doing well.
Yeah. Yep.
If you can get them to turn up to do the work, you're doing even better. And if you can get what you think is a fair price, you're doing extremely well.
Yeah.
That said, look, there's a lot of work out there, and the tradies are doing well. That's cooling off. You can see the cooling off happening. You can see the interest rates going up. You can see the pressure coming on, and the amount of new build potentially starting to slow down. We're already hearing out of Christchurch, some of the bigger developers are starting to slow down what their releases are because they're not selling them as quickly. So that potentially could free up some tradies, and they'll start looking for other work. So, you've got some renos coming up, or you've got some big projects coming up. You might want to consider the timing of those, whether you can push them out a year or two and see if there's a better price coming through in the market. That's sort of the macro view, but there is, from a planning perspective, there's this window this year to get those 30-year plans done. The legislation's upping the game. You've got to keep your house in order from a long-term plan perspective. And sneaking in the back there, I think, is a raising awareness of health and safety, because that's probably long left behind. Long-term plans, begrudgingly getting a long-term plan, and then now I have to get health and safety and a fire report. But a well-managed body corporate, has covered off their obligations and liabilities associated with health and safety well. So it's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year, but the opportunities are there to try and make it run smoothly. And get everyone to the sort of the starting blocks of the following year.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a good answer and some good feedback there too. I guess the one thing that I forgot to ask prior to that question was around you guys do plans all over the country.
Yep.
Do you see any differences from city to city or province to province, island to island? Or does everyone think about long-term maintenance plans the same across the country?
Good question. So we'll go where the work is. We're based out of Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch. We've got planners in all those centres now. I think there's different thinking just about in every building, Brady. When I think about it, there are some common types of thinking. The delay defer, we need money to do work, and there's active and proactive approaches. The difference in the markets, Christchurch is more, the body corporate managers are more involved in the facilities, and they're more hands-on. So those conversations are quite lively and very engaged, and quite specific. Up in the Auckland market, it's more facilities managers doing the work, delivering the work, and the body corporate managers are more typically running the governance end and the administrative side of compliance. So there are two slightly different markets in that regard, and Wellington is probably a bit of a mix of both.
Yeah. Now we see the companies down in Wellington that have they have the body corp manager and the facility manager part of the same company, whereas we don't so much see that up here. I think
sometimes you see it in the same service.
Yeah.
And then you've got scope creep. That's always a challenge for people. What am I getting paid for, and where the extras come from, or where's the service start and stop. And being reasonably new to this industry, that took me quite a while to get my head around, because people were using different sort of interchangeable terminologies, but quite different scopes.